This documentary is very in-depth with lots of characters, eras, and lots of confusing stuff in general. Covering 6 games each with their own little time frame and own mythology, things can become very confusing, very fast. This is one out of 3 possible timelines for the Zelda series.
The game called Legend of Zelda was created by the game designers Shigeru Miyamoto, Takashi Tezuka, and Eiji Aonuma, which was later developed and published by Nintendo. The first game was known as Legend of Zelda, which was released on February 21st, 1986. Our main character of this story is known as Link, a young boy who lives in the forest and resided with the people known as the Kokiri, Ko meaning child or children in Japanese, and Kiri meaning a flowering tree species native to Asia. Link is known as the hero of time due to saving the land of Hyrule from Ganondorf, the main villain for most of the games. The chronology of the history of Link begins in the creation era, where the creation of the land and sky are formed later to be known as Hyrule. Eventually the creation era ends and the era of the goddess Hylia begins. This is where the game Skyward Sword also starts, known as the ancient battle and the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia. During this time, the goddess Hylia gives up her immortality to become mortal in order to save her people. She becomes reincarnated as Zelda after the war has ceased and it became the Era of the Sky.
The setting for Era of the Sky begins on Skyloft, where Link is training to become a knight. His childhood friend is Zelda, but Zelda is unaware of her previous existence as the goddess until she was tossed out of the sky from the antagonist tornado, Girahim. When Link tries to rescue Zelda, she's already on her own quest to bless the Master Sword that Link has, and Link must gain the power of the Triforce to defeat the ultimate boss, Demise, which is the antagonist Girahim attempts to revive. Eventually, Link defeats both him and Demise, killing Girahim and sealing away Demise and the Master Sword together. Zelda was able to regain back her old soul and colonizes on the surface with everyone else on Skyloft, including Link himself.
Link and Elzo manage to banish Vaati with the power of the Four Swords and Zelda using her Light Force and the Wishing Cap, which Vaati had stolen from Elzo to return to the land of Hyrule into a state of peace. But this was short-lived. Somehow, Vaati returns to terrorize the land of Hyrule once again. But it seems Vaati doesn't remember himself as Picori, once his lust for the Light Force. He creates his new home in the Palace of Winds and starts a rampage on the villages. He also took beautiful young girls who took his fancy. No one could stop Vaati until one day a mysterious young boy appears with nothing but a sword saying he will defeat Vaati. He enters the Palace of the Winds and defeats Vaati and rescues the young girls.
When the village people asked how the young boy was able to defeat Vaati and rescue them, the young girls replied saying the young boy split into 4 copies of himself and working together to defeat Vaati. Once Vaati was defeated, the young boy disappears into the woods. The people didn't believe someone could clone themselves, but they built a shrine to protect it anyway. We assume this is Link because there was no time indication between the Minish Cap and the 4 swords. Also, there's no indication of the main hero other than Link, unless it was Link from a different time period.
This concludes the end of the Force era. Now, the next era is the era of the Hero of Time, where the Orchestral of Time is placed as the 4th chronological order in the history of Link. This timeline, Link also has a child, and he lives in the Kokiri forest with the other Kokiris, as well as the Great Deku Tree. Link is awakened to a fairy known as Navi, who becomes his companion during his quest to defeat Ganondorf. When young Link meets Princess Zelda, he's given a quest to stop Ganondorf from enslaving Hyrule. In order to do so, Link must collect the 3 gems from the main tribe: the Kokiris, the Gorons, and the Zora. With these 3 gems, Link can access the Temple of Time and get to the Master Sword. Unfortunately, Link is too young to defeat Ganondorf, and he is sent into the Sacred Temple for 7 years to become old enough to defeat him.
When Link awakens from his 7-year slumber, he is met by the Sage of Light, one of the 7 sages who sent Ganondorf into the Sacred Realm. He tells Link he must find the other sages in order to stop Ganondorf. When the sages help Link fight his way to the top of Ganondorf's tower to have a final battle with Ganondorf. Once Link defeats Ganondorf, he escapes with the Princess Zelda. Zelda is the leader of the 7 sages, and watch the tower fall into rubble. But as they watch Ganondorf emerge from the rubble, still with the Triforce of Power, he transforms into Ganon, a being of pure evil, and challenges Link one last time. Link manages to awaken Ganon so that Zelda and the 6 sages could seal him away in the Sacred Realm. Once the battle is over, Zelda sends back Link to the original time using the Ocarina of Time.
When Link awakens from his 7-year slumber, he is met by the Sage of Light, one of the 7 sages who sent Ganondorf into the Sacred Realm. He tells Link he must find the other sages in order to stop Ganondorf. With the sages' help, Link fights his way to the top of Ganondorf's tower to have the final battle with Ganondorf. Once Link's defeated Ganondorf, he escapes with Princess Zelda, aka the leader of the 7 sages, and watch the tower fall into rubble. But as they watch Ganondorf emerge from the rubble, he is still with the Triforce of Power. He also transforms into Ganon, a being of pure evil, and challenges Link one last time. Link manages to weaken Ganon so that Zelda and the 6 sages could seal him away in the Sacred Realm. Once the battle was over, Zelda sends back Link to his original timeline using the Ocarina of Time. Link comes back to his Zelda of his time to tell the plot of Ganondorf and went to convince the king of Ganondorf's treachery. Ganondorf was imprisoned and sealed away for his conspiracy. Because Zelda sent Link back in time, she forever altered the course of Hyrule's history, splitting it into 2. After the warning of the royal family of Hyrule, Link and Zelda spend a short amount of time together. Before Link goes to find his fairy companion, Navi, Zelda gives the Ocarina of Time to Link in order to prevent Ganondorf from entering the Sacred Realm again. She also teaches Link the Song of Time just in case if something were to happen to him. Several months pass. During Link's search for Navi, he enters a mysterious forest where the Skull Kid and his fairy companions Tattle and Tail encounter the hero and stole his horse Epona, as well as the Ocarina of Time. During the pursuit, Skull Kid curses Link and turns him into a Deku scrub. Tattle was left behind and forces Link to take her back to Skull Kid and her brother Tail. Link soon finds out that he's in a parallel universe called Termina, which is being threatened with imminent destruction by its moon. Link also meets the Happy Mask salesman, who promises Link that if he was able to recover Majora's Mask from Skull Kid, he will restore Link to his true form. So Link chases Skull Kid all around Termina within 3 days before the moon crashes on Termina, gathering the mask to help aid him in his quest. On the 3rd day, Link confronts Skull Kid and summons the 4 giants that Skull Kid had imprisoned. This caused the demon Majora to reveal itself as the source of the Skull Kid's evil. As the moon descended upon the clock towers, the epicenter of Termina, Link went inside it, where he confronted Majora on a otherworldly plane. Once Majora was defeated, the Hero of Time's secret journey ended with the beginning of the Carnival of Time. Link left Termina for Hyrule on Epona, still searching for his companion Navi.
Okay. The era of Twilight begins when... That doesn't even make sense. The era of Twilight begins 7 years after the failure of his attempted invasion. Yeah, that does. Okay. The era of Twilight begins when 7 years after the failure of his attempted invasion, Ganondorf was taken prisoner in the Arbiter's ground prison. When the ancient sages tried to execute him, however, they discovered to their horror that he had the Triforce of Power, so they activated the Mirror of Twilight and sent him into the Twilight Realm. Ganondorf stayed there for quite some time until he met Zant and promised him power for freedom of his prison. The agreement was that Zant was to merge the light and twilight realms in order to create a world of darkness. Zant agrees to this and pledges undying loyalty to Ganondorf. Zant uses his new power to transform the Twilight Princess, Minda, into an imp and take the throne before launching an invasion of the Light World. Hyrule was unprepared for this invasion. Princess Zelda was forced to surrender to Zant. Then, Zant sent his minions over the land and stole power from the light spirits, guarding each province, shrouding the kingdoms of Hyrule in twilight.
Eventually, Midna uncovers dark magic in the form of a Few Shadow. She used its magic to help a youth from the Orden village named Link, a descendant of the Hero of Time, who had become trapped in the twilight in the form of a wolf. Link and Midna travel all around Hyrule, gathering the pieces of the Few Shadows in order to defeat Zant. But once they gather all of them, Zant finds them and destroys the Few Shadows. He wounded Midna and cursed Link to his wolf form once again. Then Link and Midna went to get aid from Princess Zelda, who gives up her soul so Midna could live. But before she gives it up, she tells Link to seek out the Master Sword in the Sacred Grove. The Master Sword gets rid of the curse on Link and allows him to switch between human and wolf forms at will. During the adventure, Link learns the secrets of combat from the ghost of his ancestor, the original Link, also known as the Hero of Time. In order to get Zant, Link and Midna must enter the Twilight Realm, and in order to do that, they sought after the Mirror of Twilight in the Arbiter's grounds, but Zant scattered the pieces across the land. So Link and Midna chased after the fragments and eventually made it to the Twilight Realm and defeated Zant until Midna kills him.